Deconversion Therapy. This is Karen.
This is Bonnie.
And hello and welcome. And we have a lot of new listeners. So Bonnie and I are two ex-evangelicals, and we grew up together since we were 1 year old. We were really good Christians, better than you. And one of us fizzled, one of us studied themselves out of it, and that's why we do this today. We offer no help, no good sources, no scholarly insight. We're just here for a little lightweight stuff, although today we might be talking about some more, a tad serious. Not terribly traumatic, but a tad serious.
It is traumatic.
Oh, it is. It is. And before we get into a lot of that, I just want to say thank you for people who've been reviewing us. That really helps. As you know, we sort of got attacked by a few angry people who don't like that people leave the church, so they gave us 1-star reviews without actually reviewing. They just gave us the rating. Anyhoo, you guys have been doing such a nice job at writing reviews for us and giving us 5 stars. If you would please continue to do that, and if you haven't done it, please do that. You'll be blessed. And then find us on TikTok and Facebook and
Instagram,
and sometimes Twitter. Yeah.
Twitter, like the ugly stepchild of social media.
I know that I'm doing less and less of. Oh, yeah. And for sponsorship, we have a newsletter that we send out. And because it's been busy, we decided, we'll send out a newsletter, but we're also going to start doing Zoom parties because we've never done anything, quote, in person with people. So that will be our first one, I think, is this week. If you want to sponsor us, the links are in any of the bios you see anywhere, or go to our website, deconversiontherapypodcast.com. And then I send out the invites, and then we're all going to show up on Zoom. It'll be fun.
And you know what I think I'm going to do?
What?
Drink.
What? That I did say you have to be dressed, and there are a few people upset at that.
Well, you don't have to put pants on. Just don't stand up.
I am horrified. This year and a half of Zoom meetings and the stories that come out, I'm just like, please be clothed head to toe. Please have a blank wall in back of you. I do not want to see. Make sure it is not a doorway. I need everything shut down.
If you don't have pants on, don't stand up, and have a mirror behind you, as I do.
Oh, my God.
And have pants on just in case you spill your beverage in your lap. And oops, stand up.
Anyway. I'm going to have my hand on the controls. I'm going to be muting and deleting. It's going to be fun.
That's what you Christian people who are trying to sabotage us should do. Sponsor us, come on the Zoom meeting, and then stand up and show us your pubics. That'll really get us. That'll get us back to church.
Oh, great.
That's great.
Disgusting.
So how's everything been? I haven't talked to you in a while.
It's been good. I really have been living on TikTok. I went to a podcast festival that a lot less festival than I was hoping. And then with the Delta variant, I'm like, oh, good. I get to stay at home on purpose, and that people won't think how much I detest going out, because I really do. The whole time I was there, I can picture like sitting in my bedroom with my dogs. Like, that is my golden place. I'm like, I'm going to be back there in 2 hours. It's okay. Calm down, Karen. Yeah.
Yeah. I went away for the first time in 2 years. It was so nice just to see other things. But it does make you appreciate home. And it was nice to want to come home.
Right.
Not that it wasn't lovely and everything, but there's a safe feeling to being home. And flying on a plane in a mask is certainly different.
Yeah. It's super uncomfortable.
Sure it is.
Yeah. But
however, I think in the future, I will continue to do it, even if we're out of all of this.
I hear ya.
I don't need any of that bullshit, spit, sneezing.
Well, how many times have you gotten sick after a plane ride? I would say for me, I can remember at least 2 getting really sick. So, yeah. Why spend the money to travel and then get a cold or whatever?
Well, and the last time I went out of the country, I got sick, and I can only imagine it's because I was like, well, I need to bite this piece of my finger right now. And like I had just touched something disgusting on a plane. And yeah, it made me sad, to be sick.
Yeah, exactly.
On a trip.
Same.
When I wanted to feel happy and perky and energetic. But it was just really nice to see different things. Like, we don't have any hills in Florida. So I kept saying, look at all this geography. Look at that hill. It's beautiful. Look at those rocks. Oh, my God. And just lakes and different oceans. What the hell? It's so fantastic. It turns out beaches everywhere look really different.
They do.
Yeah.
I told you I went on one when it was snowing, and like my mind never wrapped around that was possible. I don't know why. Like I never thought of that. Yeah.
You don't, coming from here. And it's hot as a mofo, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so want to tell people what we're talking about? Want me to tell people?
I will tell them, since you have lots of important actual info, because like always, I was going to wing it. But this time we're talking about the movie on Netflix, Pray Away, and the idea of conversion therapy, which is how we sort of combined it with deconversion therapy. Anyhoo. So Pray Away, I think the producer was Ryan Murphy.
Yes.
And you're going to tell more of the important people. But it's on Netflix. We wanted to get this out as soon as possible because the more people who watch it and stream it, put it on all your devices, take a shower, have it playing if you've already seen it, the more Netflix will push it out and be visible, just like when we ask you to rate and review us. The algorithms pick up on that. And this is, it's a really important discussion, really important thing for everyone to see. But I must say, a lot of our amazing, sweet, adorable, cute LGBT community listeners have been triggered by it.
Oh.
So do not watch it if you are not like, I am in the mood to be triggered. Don't. I mean, no, let the straight allies watch it. Let other people watch it. Don't feel that you have to, I need to do this as my community. You don't. And being triggered by COVID getting bad again is enough for the triggering.
Yeah, it is.
So let's just stay with that. And then we're going to have our special guest.
We both watched it.
We both did. We did not watch it together.
And I don't think that even if we had watched it together, we would have found much levity in it, because it is a very, very serious, solemn piece of work.
Oh, yeah. There are no jokes. We were surprised.
No, I found 4. We will get there.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I think they were intentional, and I love the editor for them. Either that or the director, whoever made these decisions, but we'll get there. So if anybody doesn't know what conversion therapy is, it is when somebody who thinks that they have a non-straight lifestyle goes to talk to some people and generally have some quote-unquote therapy And a lot of times it's religion based. And so you are frequently with a group of people who think that you can pray away the gay, which is where the name of the movie comes from. Pray
And
away.
I think that Christianity and evangelicals started the whole thing in general, that you can fix this. I don't know if there were any like secular things doing it. I'm sure maybe one or two, but
There's the guy in the movie who is secular. He's more of he's a doctor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
But
So I think
he wasn't the big push of the there's the main the main group organization that they focus on is called Exodus in this movie.
Yeah. And talking about the movie itself, it's a documentary. It's well done, well filmed.
Yeah.
Got a good pace. I watch a lot of documentaries, and this is a great one. I mean, I hope it does well, because this one obviously builds policy, and conversion therapy should be illegal, and that's just it. You were saying to me, well, it should only be done if consent. If the person is like, I feel this, I want to do this, but that means they'd have to be over 18, and by the time you're over 18, you go, there's not really anything wrong with me. So
hopefully, I mean, if you grow up in the Christian church, you might think otherwise. And that's what all of these people had in common, who they focus on in the documentary. They all thought something was wrong with them and that they were being bad. But I have another place to start from that I wanted to tell you that's kind of funny.
Okay.
So, maybe about 8 years ago when I moved back to Florida, my mom and I were driving around and we're like, oh, there's a garage sale. Let's go see the garage sale. And it was in the cutest little like carriage house, guest house behind a big giant house close to where we grew up. You'd know the street if I told you. So I was as excited, if not more, to see the house
right.
than I was whatever shit they were trying to get rid of. So we're up there and we're, milling about, and it's kind of a small environment. So I'm going from room to room, and somehow the guy just struck me as super earnest and not a joker at all. That's, of course, my cue to be suspicious. And for some reason, I don't remember the details of that afternoon much, but for some reason, he gave me his business card. And I just thought he seemed just a little bit different. And I wanted to look him up. So the minute we get in the car, my mom's driving and I'm on my phone, Googling him. And sure enough, I found his testimony about how he used to be gay and wasn't anymore. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we just met somebody and his wife, because his wife was there with him.
Right.
And I was floored. I'm like, oh my God, I'm for sure back in Florida now.
Right.
And I don't remember his name at all. But when I was Googling, my testimony, conversion therapy, Florida, did you know that Milo Yiannopoulos is going to open a conversion therapy facility in Florida?
Oh, really dislike that guy.
Yeah. So if you don't know who he is, I'm only vaguely familiar with him. He seems like the kind of guy who just wants attention from controversial stuff.
Exactly.
So, I think that if he just stuck his finger in his butt and then licked it and put it on video.
Right. Damn
it. See? You're going to get attention. I think that he just keeps poking people.
Yeah, he seems totally performance, like this is going to get a lot of attention. I don't think there's a lot that he truly believes in as a person, except for poking at things.
Attention. Yeah, right. Because now he's gay right now. But he decided, and apparently he was engaged to his boyfriend, and he took his $150,000 engagement ring off and threw it in the ocean, and now they still live together, but he's just a roommate. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
I would be diving into that water.
So I like that somebody on Twitter said, a team of highly skilled gay men need to deprogram this asshole. So I don't know. And, apparently he also showed somebody else's house in Miami when Hurricane Irma came through and said, "Oh, my house is destroyed." And people were being nice and going, "Oh, poor you." And the guy whose house it was like, "That's my house."
He's a mess. But the whole conversion, whatever he thinks facility is horrible. Like that's draconian and disgusting.
It is. And again, I go, well, you know what? If you're 18 and you want to convert, wait, no. How do you say that? If you're 18 and decide you don't want to be gay anymore and you want to give something a shot, it's your choice. Just like it's our choice to do anything. Just don't shove it in my face and force anybody to do it. I still think it's so damaging. I agree that it is. I think, drinking too much is damaging. Smoking is damaging, but these people, they get to choose it.
I still say no.
I know. I just think the word consent is a really important part of the vocabulary in life.
Yeah, in general.
All right, so there was a good introduction of the movie from this NPR segment that I kind of liked. Okay, and it says, when director Christine Stolakis went to film school, she knew precisely what her first documentary would be about. It's a movement that, according to one estimate, has affected the lives of nearly 700,000 people in the U.S. with disastrous results. Conversion therapy, quote unquote, is the discredited practice that aims to convert a person's sexual orientation or gender identity to heterosexual or cisgender. It is often religious in nature, with groups claiming sexual orientation and gender identity can be changed through prayer. Mm-hmm. So then it says major U.S. medical groups have condemned the practice. That's great. More than 20 states have banned it from being done on minors, which that should be 100%.
And Australia just banned it. You want to say nationally, we can just say on the whole continent. Get it?
Yeah. But again, I think consent is the key, but that's key to a lot of issues in the world, but this in particular. So the main group that I was mentioning that this focuses on is Exodus. And I love how they always come up with a great name. It like, is. What do you want to do? Come out? You want to, Exodus?
Exactly.
But it isn't coming out.
It's coming out of bondage, I guess. Yes.
So the focus of this show was on the people who used to be the leaders of Exodus and how they have all, with the course of time passing, realized that they inflicted a lot of harm on a lot of people. And they are all now people who at one point said, we're gay, but we're going to pray it away. And they had a conversion. They came to Jesus. They were then deemed straight. And they ran Exodus. And then at various times decided, okay, well, actually, I am gay.
Right.
3 of the guys were like that. Yeah, it didn't take. The woman is still married and has kids.
She considers, herself bisexual.
Yeah, and so the co-founder of Exodus is Michael Bussey. He's interviewed a lot. The former vice president, John Polk, is the one that people might remember most because he was kind of the face of it all. Do you remember back then?
I sort of do, but I didn't really remember his face. But that definitely, he did like the daytime talk show circuit with his wife, who was an ex-lesbian, and, look what happened to us.
Conversion therapy can do for us.
Right.
We can get together and have babies. And so John Polk was all over the media, and he says, by the way, he looks so different from when he was younger to now, and I love how he looks now.
Me too. Absolutely. I think the same thing.
Yeah, when he was in his early 20s, he looked like a more saccharine version of Andrew Rannells, like a Cupid doll. He looked like a Welch's kid. He was so perfectly cute, and his hair was perfect, and he just had the big round glasses that were so popular in that time.
I didn't think cute. I thought, not attractive to me. I didn't think there was a cuteness.
No, but just like those kids on the Welch's commercials that were so cute, they clicked over into it's too much.
Gotcha.
Too many parts are just too cute. I didn't find him attractive.
You said cute, and we had it on recording.
But two separate things. Okay, so
the ex-lesbian now.
So John Polk, all over the media, was on the Maury Povich show. He says, at one point, I really was the most famous ex-gay person.
such a long list.
Right.
But now I could swear if people watched it, take this as I'm saying, he almost looks like he has a different heritage than he did when he was younger.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think all these things, just like Roe versus Wade, anything that had a Christian backing, especially in the early 80s type time, they would pick out people who they're like, we can run with this guy. Right. And that's what they did with John Polk, and they just, shot him out with his wife to be on every single show there is.
Yeah, he was the example of a success story for conversion therapy.
Correct.
Until, and I just love this because they had a picture. He said he went to some event and he got intoxicated and he went out to a gay bar. And somebody inside the gay bar who was an activist recognized who he was. And they grabbed their camera and they caught a picture of him running away from the bar with his hand over his face. And he's wearing like a sweater vest and totally this look of that time, a couple decades ago. And so and he was funny talking about it. He's like, well, maybe I'll just say I was in there by mistake looking for a bathroom.
Right.
Oh, God, love him.
Looking for a glory hole, a bathroom.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he was, I'm looking for research. All of it. I didn't know it was a gay bar. When I noticed, I ran out.
Oh, gosh. So he's one of the guys that they talk to a lot in here. And, now he's got a lot of remorse. And I think it's satisfying to see a lot of people with remorse who had people following them for something that
it shows a lot of humility. To be like, I was wrong and it hurt me and it hurt others. And a lot of these people also cried in front of the camera as far as their own stance and how it affected people back then.
Yeah, and he was so honest. He said, if I kept up going like I was going, I would have taken my own life.
Yeah.
And
a lot of them have. That's what's so sad.
Right. And one of the interviews, I like it. I can't remember, Leslie Stahl or something on 60 Minutes was like, so you're not just a gay man who struggles with this every day. And he was like, nope. And it just hurts so much because you want to believe what you want yourself to be.
Right, exactly.
Go ahead.
No, that's the thing. They're like, we can't do this, but Jesus can do this for us and through us and all that. And it's just like when we were in church, if you're going and you're around that community for multiple hours every week, you have that strength during that time. But then, yeah.
Well, so one of the themes that it resonated to me a lot throughout the whole movie here was that all of these people, or at least 3 or 4 of them, seemed to talk about the whole concept of I was bad. Mm-hmm. And that comes from the whole church environment and the teaching. So it was very important to them to not be bad in the eyes of the Lord, and I guess the people who explain the Bible to them. So good versus bad, it's such a story that we as humans cling to. I mean, that's what the best movies of all time are based on. Star Wars, good versus bad, the dark side. So he was talking about being good versus bad. So it also focuses on Yvette. She worked with John. One of the things that I didn't care for that she said in an interview a million years ago, and this is the thing, people change. She was having an argument with somebody saying, well, if we're allowed to marry whoever we find attractive, then what's next? Pedophiles being able to marry 8-year-olds? I'm like, that is not a logically sound argument. So,
and we heard it. We heard it, recently when all this stuff was happening, when gay marriage was being approved. Like, what's next? So I guess someone can just marry a dog. And I'm like, I wish, but no.
I would. But yeah, and another one of the themes that it digs into is capitalizing on fear. So the fears of people, oh my God, what is going to happen next? Are people going to be marrying 8-year-olds and dogs? And oh my God. So the other phraseology, is that the right word that I liked, is that they all talked about having a homosexual encounter as acting out.
Right. Yeah. Which I'm sure the lingo of that time, they were joined together by whatever lingo that was. We would always say slipping up.
Would we?
No, I don't know.
In addition to the Exodus thing, they focus on some people currently who are in a movement where they have received Jesus and are no longer anything but what?
Are no longer identifying as gay, I would like to say. They say they are no longer gay. We have a difference of opinion. That's okay.
Right. So, okay. So there's this one part that the whole movie starts off with this guy who no longer identifies as the transgender woman that he was trying to be. Mm-hmm. And he has a big board with some pictures of before and after. He takes it out of his car and he goes to stand outside a local retail shop wherever he lives in Georgia. And he just starts talking to random people coming out of the store saying, this is me before, this is me now. Can I pray for you? Do you need any prayer today? And I'm just like, I don't care what you're peddling. Don't talk to me.
Right.
Oh my God. I was talking about being triggered. I'm like,
Exactly. And the thing is, even at my most evangelical, I guarantee if I was in a small town, walked by this guy with a poster that says from trans to, whatever he did, to man or something like that, and says, hello, can I private? I would think if I stopped, which actually I am a pushover, and I probably would have, it would have been because I felt bad, that I thought something was a little off with this person, and I didn't want to contribute to their, them feeling awkward and bullied in their life. But I would not have been, this is a sane situation.
Right?
Ever.
But you're right. Like, I wouldn't want to walk by and go, oh, he probably gets ignored a lot. So maybe I'll pay attention and have a conversation with him. But at the same time, I'm like, just on a shitty human level, don't approach me outside a place, even if you're saving dogs.
I will not make eye contact with the cute little kids selling cookies. I am just like, look straight ahead, Karen. Don't look. Don't look.
Do you not buy Girl Scout cookies?
We do, but once we're done with that, I don't want to make eye contact because I feel I'm giving them hope.
Look, kid, I'm going to teach you right now about hope. Oh, my God. So I just really think it's altogether very solemn. But definitely very important.
Yeah, and it's also not over dramatized to be like, we're really going to make you upset. Like, it's very well done, and you can watch it. Like, I would say for me, it was easy to watch because I don't identify with any of it. So I'm pulled by my curiosity. So I found it very interesting, and also sort of that fist pump of, those people aren't, want nothing to do with it and are ashamed that they did that. So there's a small glimmer of silver lining.
Yeah, and I would like to think that if I, as, a 20-year-old watched this, I would go, these people changed over time and are able to see things from a broader perspective.
Right.
Then maybe I could go, oh, maybe I should learn that now instead of having to go through it the shitty hard way.
True. Well, that brings us to, speaking of shitty, that brings us to our guest this week. No, he's the greatest person on TikTok, and we're really happy to have him because he has been through conversion therapy. So now you guys are going to get to hear from Jegaysus. Now our special treat is here, and it's Jegaysus. And if people are on TikTok, you've probably already come across their feed because I know you came across mine. I'm like, what is happening? There is a Jesus-like figure, but with great cheekbones, flowy hair, and beautiful makeup. So, Jegaysus, you're on TikTok and Instagram, because I gave you a little shout-out the other day, because we love you. What else? Are you on Twitter or anything?
So I'm on Instagram. That's kind of the new frontier for the Jegaysus page. But I do have a Twitter and I do have a YouTube. Twitter is super dead. I never use it. I'm so intimidated by it. I don't know why. I started on Twitter, I'm a millennial. Like, that should be my bread and butter. And I can't remember how to use it to save my life.
Yeah. All your videos are very, it seems a lot are about church history. So what are what's your background? What's your interest? What are you trying to accomplish? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? No,
oh my gosh, it's so funny because I just got asked that question last week. It's like my new Saturday question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I've never thought about that.
Don't.
Not in this context. Like, I've thought about it graduating high school or like entering college, but never with Jegaysus. No, I have, and I'm not where I thought I would be in 5 years.
No, that's why I don't think about it ever.
I talk a lot about church history. My background is really just in self-research and self-questioning. I don't have any kind of like doctorate or formal training. It's all just pretty layman stuff. And I think that's what makes my channel kind of fun, because I try to approach things as I'm learning them, so it seems accessible, and people are always like, wow, you break things down in a way I can understand. I'm like, it's because I don't fully understand them.
Right.
It makes it easier for you to also
big.
learn it. Right. And then, of course, it's interactive, so people have questions that lead me to new research and try to dig into new, rabbit holes of discovery. So that's been a process, but where I see it in 5 years, I don't know. I mean, when I was thinking about it, when I was asked last time, I think it would be really cool to transition into some kind of helpful platform. I have this weird dream of just kind of traveling and doing in-person interviews with people. I don't know what that looks like yet, but that would be an interesting path to pursue.
Well, that sounds good. Bonnie and I have instead just said we're going to start a cult, because that way we can stay in one place.
Yeah.
Stay in one place.
I find all the houses on Zillow Gone Wild, and where one room is pretty much a baptismal, so it's already there, and
that's the swimming pool. Wait, so what's the Reader's Digest version of your background? How'd you grow up? Church?
Yeah,
sounds not
there was
like
church
it
there.
but so much though.
I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, fourth generation.
Yeah.
Fourth generation Baptist right here. It didn't go well. I broke the chain. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, well,
So
I guess we left early.
So your parents were very into the church as well.
My mom was, because that's where that third generation would have came from. She was born and raised into it. And my great-grandparents were from Oklahoma, so they were Southern. So just kind of passed down through that way. And she was probably the most religious of her family. None of her siblings went. She was very devoted. She credited a lot of her turnarounds in life to church. So she made my dad convert. My dad was Jewish.
I love that.
Yeah, so he was not nearly as invested in it. He was very much I love you, I'll do whatever you say, wife. But not nearly as personal about it.
What age did you know that you were gay?
Okay, so it was a little bit of a process. I almost feel like it wasn't that I knew. Let's see. So I was in 6th grade. I was an early starter. So I was probably 11, I want to say. And I had a friend, I guess I won't say his name just in case, but I don't even remember his last name. And he's changed it twice, so we'll never know. But
can we call him Ephraim?
We can call him Ephraim. Yeah, so Ephraim came to me in the 6th grade and was like, oh, I need to come out to you. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, I'm bi. And he had to describe the entire word to me because I was so sheltered. My school had 13 people in my class.
Oh,
It was so small. And so I never.
A cult. That's a cult.
It was just a really small town. We had 100 people in the town.
Right.
They were all different denominations. No, about 50% of them were Mormon. The other 50% were Seventh-day Adventists. And I was just really weird because I was in a non-denominational church.
It's easier for you to say 7 of them were Mormon.
Yeah, 7 of them were Mormon, and 7 of them were.
Oh, wow.
But no, I mean, that could be very culty. But the school itself wasn't very culty. They were very open to everyone being from their own cult.
Well, let me just for right now say that we're definitely older, of course. So when we had people who were on the cusp of coming out, they didn't have anybody really in the media or in social media or anywhere to look to. And it was much more in the dark. So I love that your friend was like, I'll explain this to you.
Yeah, no, I had to get a personal, one-on-one to break it down. Because I didn't really have anything in the media as well. And I didn't have a lot of media because I was out in the country. So everything I got was just over-the-air antenna.
Right.
So I didn't get any good cable representations.
Yeah. Were your parents keeping things from you? Or do you think that it just, you're out in the country and you don't get magazines?
I think I was just out in the country. I don't think they would have had a way to keep like homosexual topics from me per se.
Right.
But at the same time, they were definitely there at that time. They still want to let me read Harry Potter. You know what I mean? So they were definitely keeping certain things out.
Right.
But, you know, little did they know I became gay from school of 14 kids and not a wizard. But kept the wrong things away.
They were worried about wizardry.
So when
awesome.
your friend Ephraim was saying that, were you like, this sounds familiar?
Yeah. Something ticked in me and kind of triggered me into like this whole weird, like, wait, who did what? We can do this? That's a thing. I don't think I ever really thought about it. And at that time, I could kind of start reflecting on it, and I realized that ever since like 4th grade or maybe even sooner, I'd always recognized that like I liked guys. And I've always written that off my entire childhood life by saying, well, of course you do. Like every guy likes guys. That's why they're friends.
Right.
You know, like you see them go play basketball and the first thing they do is like, let's all take off our shirts and run around and then slap each other.
And run around.
Yeah, it's friendship. I get it. I get that. And it explains why I don't have any guy friends, right? So I was just this whole time trying to figure out how you unlock that friendship level. And little did I know that it's like a different thing. And yeah, so I really started thinking on it. And then I decided at that time, I was like, okay, like I'm bi. I didn't come out to anybody about that until high school. And when I was going into my freshman year of high school, I decided I was going to start a whole new chapter out of the closet. Everyone was going to know. We're in a school of 1,200 kids instead of 13. So I just had to forget about the 13 that knew me and start fresh with this new group. And I got there, and like the very first day of band camp before school started, they're like, hey, are you gay? And I was like, whoa, you know, left field. Let me tell you what instrument I play first.
As he picks up his piccolo.
Which is flute, by the way. They could have guessed just from the instrument. No, and then I froze. Oh, I was so terrified. I was like, absolutely not. Like I'm a Christian, firstly. I was still heavy in the church, and I didn't know what to do, and so I freaked out. It only took 7 days, though. 7 days for them to break me down and be like, well, this guy likes you, and we know that you're at least bi, so I don't know why you keep lying to us. And I was like, okay,
told you
I'm
what
bi.
you were.
That's right, I'm bi. That's it. You got it. So I started dating a guy.
Well, like, when did you tell your parents, and how'd that go?
That didn't go great.
Imagine.
I know, right? The people who had Harry Potter didn't like it. So I got that boyfriend from band camp, and we started dating. So while my school was larger than the other school, it's still a small town, right? Mm-hmm. And it's still the town my mom grew up in. So not only does she know everybody and they know her, but like actual school faculty were her cousins. So one of the secretaries in the office saw me and my boyfriend together, and this was probably 3 months into us dating. So I actually don't know why it took that long. We were the only 2 gay kids at the school, so everyone knew, right? And it was always the talk of the town. But one day, 3 months into it, my secretary, second cousin, third cousin removed, however that is, decided to tell my mom that, you know, I was in a relationship with a guy. So I got home all the way out in the middle of nowhere, maybe like 3, 4 o'clock whenever the bus dropped me off. And as soon as I get home, I see my mom's car come up our driveway, which was like a mile long. So I could watch this whole process happen. And then my dad's truck followed right behind it. And they never come home at the same time, right? They work different jobs, different commutes, everything. So it was like, it's 4 o'clock. They don't usually get home till 6 or 7. Like, something's up. And why are they falling in line right behind each other? And I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. Mm-hmm. So they got home. They sat me down at the table. And they were like, it's come to our attention that you've been seeing a boyfriend at school. And we just want to let you know that, like, we love you no matter what, but you're not allowed to be gay while you're under our roof. So they grounded me for, I guess they said going behind their backs, but I don't think that's what it was.
Right.
Which entailed also taking away my cell phone. And their specific words were, we're taking away your cell phone so you can't text guys you like. Because they went through all my text messages, firstly.
Oh.
They went to AT&T and they got a transcript of every message back and forth. But yeah, so they were taking away my cell phone, therefore I could not talk to any guys I like at school. And that one, I like nearly lost it. It was so funny. It was so funny. And I was like, I still have to go to school, right? Like, I will see you guys in person. Like, I could write them a note in 5th period. Like, what are you?
I love that. I still have to go.
A little dramatic, right? Yeah. So after that, they, took me to my youth pastor, who at the time we were planning on going to a missionary trip to India. And I'd already raised all the funds for it. I put in like $2,000 of like, my whatever 13-year-old money looks like, whatever that was, doing fundraisers and stuff. So I was all planned to go like the next month. And when he found out that I was gay, he decided to cancel me from the trip because, how am I going to evangelize to others if I'm not right with God myself? So we...
Were you super bummed or kind of happy that you didn't have to go to India?
I was so bummed. I was such like an evangelical warrior at that point.
Yeah?
I was on every San Francisco, like, Save the Homeless trip. I was trying to convert my friend from that small school out of Mormonism. I was out there trying to get them souls every day.
Yeah.
So India was like the biggest thing ever.
So you're banned from India.
Yeah.
What's next on your...
So I think if I remember correctly, it was my youth pastor's idea to send me to like this conversion therapy place. I don't know if it was my mom's idea or it was his, but it was someone's.
Well, they had to agree. Yeah.
And you're what age at this point?
I was 13. Because I came out of school when I was 12, and then I think I was outed to my parents when I was 13.
Right.
So we did that. It was a place it was 3 hours away from where we lived. So we had to only do this on Thursdays. And they would take me out of school, and then we would drive 3 hours away. And then I would
With your parents?
There. Yeah, with both my parents. I would do individual counseling first, and then they would bring my parents in. That was like an hour for the one-on-one session. Then they would bring my parents in, and we would do a family counseling session for another hour. And then they would bring in a group of like 6 or 7 other teenage boys, and we would do group therapy for another hour. And each session cost $100, and my family's not well off. So they were taking off work to drive 3 hours out and waste all that money on gas and then spend 300 hours on this one session every Thursday and then drive all the way back.
Okay. I have lots of questions. So what did you tell people at school that you were doing when you were leaving early?
Oh, I was straight up about it. This was my favorite thing to tell people. I loved it. I loved it. People were like, why do you leave class earlier every Thursday or whatever? And I was like, because my parents are trying to turn me straight.
That's awesome.
And did it take? We don't know. So
what was... Wait. So,
we'll never know.
So Karen had questions, but I have one. Like, what was your demeanor when you were in the family counseling? Were you compliant and faking it, or?
No. So one thing that is really important to know about me is I'm extremely combative in like the most manipulative and like small, precise, intelligent way, I would say. I do not let things go easily. I'm a Scorpio. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So I sat there and I would just like stare. I wouldn't be very loud or vocal. And then when they would ask me something that wouldn't make sense, I would throw it right back at them. and be like, you know, here's how I see it because X, Y, and Z, and you didn't put this thing over here. I need like an actual conversation point. But I'm very petty like that. I'm the person who at like 6 years old would fight back with my parents because they'd be like, you need to respect me, I'm your father. And I'd be like, you need to respect me, I'm your child.
Right.
And they didn't like that. Right. So then I'd get grounded. And then what I did is record my voice on a high screaming pitch, just yelling at the top of my lungs. Then I would put the tape recorder up against my door and just leave it on repeat. So it would be screaming into the hallway and I didn't have to waste my breath. That was me as a child.
So a delight is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I brought that same energy to strangers telling me I needed to be straight.
So there's never, I guess, you know, which it breaks my heart when people are like, yeah, I really need to fix me and I really need to do something. But you already were like, now that I know what I am, I'm good with it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, no, I already came in there with the swinging. I didn't have as much like theology reference to be able to try to defend myself on a scriptural level, but I just came in there being like, I know where I'm at and I know I'm fine. Like at that point, I was still heavily in church. I was still just very much in the place of like, God's cool with it. I would have known if he wasn't. You know, I don't feel guilt. I don't feel shame. I'm not doing anything. I was a kid. So I was like, if you're going to try to sit here and tell me it's the act itself, like I haven't done the act. Why am I here? You know, like what if I went and was celibate my whole life? Like, you don't know what my plans are.
You don't know me.
I love that. You don't know what my plans are.
Well, now I really need to know. What fascinates me is the other people, the boys that they bring in. Do they ever date on the sly? Are they looking at each other going down?
You mean the group therapy? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it would have been a great networking way to like meet other young gay guys. Because remember, in my school, it was just me and my bi boyfriend. So I didn't have options. It would have been a really cool, better than Tinder meetup.
You were now in a room that was 100%.
I was not. So, unfortunately, I was the only gay kid in the room.
I don't get it.
I know. So, let me break down the therapy structure for you. These two counselors that I had, they were a Christian, let's call it life coaching service, because we can't call them therapists. And they only focused in sexual deviancies. So for them, that meant homosexuality, rape, incest, what have you.
Yeah. Which should not be lumped together.
Every single other guy there was straight, or at least identified that way openly. So they were all there for anything from, molesting their sister to pornography addiction to just deviant sexual thoughts or drawings or whatever that may be. So everyone was there for a different reason, but I was the only gay one.
That itself is, we don't get into a lot of trauma, but to be like, they see me the same as someone who messed with their sister.
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
It was very upsetting. I did not like that. No, I was molested at a young age. So, I mean, I actually worked through that pretty easily. Like, at that 13-year-old age, I was already worked through most of the trauma. Not really, because, I mean, that sticks. But, the resentment or the anger or, trying to hold the other person accountable, I didn't have any of that at that age. I went to a lot of therapy when I was a kid, so I worked through that pretty early. So I didn't hate my abuser in a way of it being disparaging, but for them to compare me to an abuser hit a different nerve. For sure.
And I'm sorry about that, and I'm glad that you got the help you needed early on.
Sure.
At least for that part.
Yeah, my mom was very good about those kinds of things. She didn't ever try to swipe those under the rug or try to hide it from the church, and she put me in a secular counseling for that one when I was 5 or 6. So
she had some hits and misses, is what
she had some hits and misses. Yeah.
No, that was a nice, pleasant surprise because you think small town and you have your stereotypes. So
yeah. No, we actually drove an hour out of town for that one, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Aw.
What is your favorite, like, weird thing that you've talked about or found out about church history or people in the Bible?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Well, thank you. That was Karen, not Bonnie.
You'd think I would have that off the top of my head. Okay, so here's the thing. So, like, as much as I knew, like, in my heart that hell wasn't a real thing, you're still, as an evangelistic child, you know, raised in evangelism, you still have that seed in your head that says, this is your trauma. You will be afraid of hell. And that always was there, even if I didn't realize it. So when I came into the Jegaysus page, one of the very first things I did was start researching the concept of hell. And, like, it blew me away how it was never a part of the early church. It was never supposed to be. It came in later. And, like, the way that it's used has even been taken from, like, the metaphor that originally came in 200, 300 years later, and then been turned into this, you know, weaponized device of mind control. It blew the entire thing open for me again, and I was, you know, taken away by that.
So what did you find out that hell referred to in the Bible?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's 4 different words that were translated to hell in English. I love just reminding people that it wasn't written in English.
What?
Right.
So there's the Hebrew concept of Sheol, which is better translated as the grave. In the Greek, it would be Hades. It's the same concept, which they took from the Greek Hades. And in a lot of the New Testament Gospels, there's the concept of Gehenna, which is the Hebrew Gehinnom, which is a valley in a physical place. But none of those things mean hell. Oh, and there's Tartarus. That's the one other word. It's only used twice in the entire Bible. And it's specifically a pit where the angels are kept in chains of darkness. So you have the grave,
hellish.
a valley, and a place for angels. It does sound hellish, but it's only for angels, and it is never mentioned as being anything more, which is directly like the Greek Tartarus. It's where they send the Titans to be kept in chains of darkness. So they're like, oh, yeah, same thing, but angels. And those things have just been misused because in the KJV, when it decided to come along with its really, really fantastic translating skills, because if I think of anything, I think of just like men in the 1500s having a robust knowledge of dead languages, and white men love asking questions to understand culture. Like, that's what they are really good at zoning in at. So we can trust it. Yeah, no, surprisingly in the 1500s, robust. I thought Moses had horns and unicorns were a thing. It turns out that that's not true, but KJV is the worst offender with like 54 mentions of hell. And then if you go to some of the later versions, they are much better at it, and they only have more like 13 to 23 words that they've translated to hell. And if you go to the new versions, it only happens 13 times because it only keeps Gehenna, and they add footnotes that says this is Gehenna. And then if you go with like the study like Bibles like in RSV, they won't say it like even a single time unless it's used as an exclamation. But
go to hell.
So
pretty much.
So where does, if you don't accept Jesus as your savior, you will go to hell, come from?
It comes from, you know, just like Paul's verses. But not even, it doesn't, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. Why did I say that? No. So it just comes from a mishmash of theologies. So, like, it says Jesus in the Bible saying, you know, I'm the way, the truth, and life. There's no eternal kingdom except for me. And people are like, yeah, totes. That means, you know, you're going to hell if you don't accept him. But, like, it never explicitly says that. It never does. The teaching itself came from a very Hellenistic doctrine. So in the early 200s and etc., there were still a lot of pagan Greeks and Romans who followed Hel, the goddess of hell. And the Hellenistic teaching is that you would go to this afterlife, and it wasn't good or bad. It was a catch-all afterlife, much like Sheol, where everyone goes, you get rewarded if you're doing good things in life, and you get punished if you're doing bad things, but all in the same place. And when Constantine kind of made this amalgamation of religious ideas to keep the pagans interested, he would copy and paste things. You also get a little bit of that flavor with Augustine, but not nearly as clear. And yeah, Paul didn't mention it. He was a Jew. He would have also believed in the same kind of Sheol grave afterlife. And everyone's risen in the Bible. Everyone at the end is risen from their graves, where everyone is, to then face Judgment Day. So the fact that people think you're just in heaven is wrong. You're in a grave, waiting for resurrection.
And that, there's so many things, I'm sure, that you also looked, past that I did. And I remember going like, okay, the rapture part where people come out of their graves, is that the body, aren't they already up in heaven or down in hell? And so many of those things I would just be like, I don't need to know that God works in mysterious ways.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and
You're
I know
welcome.
I'll see you on the TikTok. And yeah, anyone just follow Jegaysus on all the social media platforms, and he's got merch and really smart things to say and fun things to say, and we appreciate it.
Thank you
they're
for
well
having me.
researched.
It's been fun. I try to be. I'm not always, but that's fun too.
No, I love it.
If you know something
Yep.
I don't know, call me out. Teach me a lesson.
No.
Dominate me.
We're afraid now that you're like a recording of you screaming at our front door.
That's an exclusive story. I don't think I've ever shared that with anyone outside my family.
We got the scoop. All right. Well, thanks so much. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.